Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. And it's actually two commands in this one verse right here. Husbands, love your wives. In the Greek, it's actually the verb that was used here is actually in present progressive, meaning keep loving your wives. It's in the present progressive tense. Don't stop. You loved your wife, or you love your wife when you before you got married, when you got married, the day after you got married, when you woke up after your honeymoon night, right? And to this day, keep loving your wife 5 years, 10 years, 15 years since you got married. Keep on loving her. And then he says after that, do not be harsh with them. Do not be harsh with them. And again, those days, it was so normal to be harsh because you're just a property to me. I can just replace you anytime. But he says, he goes countercultural. No longer should you be harsh. You cannot do this because you have been shown love and been treated right by your heavenly Father. Therefore, you dispense this kind of love even to your wife. Do not be harsh. The words that you say, putting her down or cutting her in a conversation or telling your mom about how bad your wife is. And just all these different things that you become harsh. You know, somebody said it, don't call her honey and act like a vinegar. Okay? Howard Hendricks said it this way. You know, sometimes men, you know, we're in charge, right? We're the commander here, you know. And he says, a lot of frustrated sergeants, Howard Hendricks said, are running around with biblical clubs in their hands shouting, I am the head of my house. And they're not the only ones. Or they're the only ones that are convinced. And the reason why they're not convinced, the wives are not convinced, is because there's no love. There's no unconditional love. My wife and I we attended the Couples Getaway not as speakers. To this day, every year we still attend because we need it as a couple. Every time we share in a couples seminar and getaway and retreat like this, we ask this question, you know, how many of you here wives, we talk to the wives, how many of you here, if your husband loves you unconditionally, cherishes you like a treasure, and puts you above himself, how many of you would willingly follow his leadership? I tell you, 99%, in fact, about 100% will raise their hands. Because if the husband loves unconditionally and treats her without harsh words and with loving kindness, it will be so easy for the wife to follow him. That's why in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And that's the kind of giving up and laying down that God said, Jesus said, or the apostles said in Ephesians, to lay down your life. And you know, the picture that you can see here is like this, right? It's like it's like a movie, right? And it's like you're the husband and then your wife is there, and then there's a car zooming and she doesn't see she's crossing the street. And it's like kind of like in slow-mo, you can almost see it, right? It's like there's background music, and then you push her away, right? Because the car's about to hit her. You push her away, and then because you pushed her away, you're the one that gets hit by the car. It's like so heroic. It's like, woo-hoo. You know, it's like, that's a great thing, and that's wonderful. But I love what Pastor John Naron, who preached this morning, and he said it this way. He said, many of us are willing to give our life and lay it down for our wives. The next question would be, how many of us are willing to live for them every day? Living with them and living for them every day. Okay, when you wake up in the morning and she's there, right? Now, I read an article of Mr. Du Yonfa and Zhu Yui. I'm probably saying their names wrong. But he's 84 and she's 76. And the wife contracted a disease when she was 20 years old, 5 months into their marriage, which caused her to be paralyzed for life, which caused her to be unable to reproduce, so they don't have any children. And so for 56 years. He stayed with her. In fact, he quit his job from the coal mines and he started a little farm so that they can get their sustenance from there, the vegetables and everyday food that they got there, because he wanted to stay close to his wife. You see, unconditional love is being able to dispense love even though the person is unable to reciprocate.